back, y'all, to another episode of the Add a Little Honey podcast. I'm gonna be honest, I don't know what episode number this is. I'm gonna put it in the title. Y'all just keep it coming, okay? Because I just woke up this morning and decided I was ready to have this conversation, okay? So this is what's today? August 24th. It's a Saturday. I got some hustling to do when I'm done with this. But how you doing? How you living? How your mama doing? I just wanted to check in on y'all real quick because we get ready to have a conversation. We get ready to have a conversation that they say is taboo and that you should not have amongst people. You should not talk about religion and you should not talk about politics, okay? But we're going to talk about all of that because I think things need to be discussed, okay? I think the best way to break barriers and to break down walls amongst people is to have conversations. And I really want black people to be delivered from the shackles of misinformation and lack of research. So today, I did all the research so you don't have to, okay? Check in with your girl. We're going to talk about politics. We're here to talk about Miss Kamala Harris, Mr. Governor Tim Walz. We're also going to talk about Donald J. Trump and whoever that other nigga is. I don't know his name. You don't know his name. And that's the whole point. Anyway, we're going to talk about the politics. We're going to talk about the DNC and all the things that have been going on since our last episode. Thank you so much for tuning back in, and let's get right into it. Okay, I took a couple weeks off of social media, so that's how I got so engulfed in politics. Also, my mom has been talking to me a whole lot about what's going on, and shout out to mom. She stayed on top of everything, you know what I'm saying? My mama's in a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and I love that girl, okay? So during my hiatus from the internet, I decided to just kind of check in with the politics, see what was going on, because it is an election year and I would love to be informed, okay? I am the person who, if I can get a hold of who is running for everything, I'm going to look everybody's name up and I'm going to look at your platform. I want to see if you are aligned with the values that I have for myself and for my future. And so, especially this year, I think it is a very, very important election, which is why I'm choosing to speak to you in this platform. Now, TikTok took down one of my videos and said it was copyright infringement when all I was doing was speaking and using my natural voice, okay? So, it is a concerted effort to silence maybe some people's opinions. So, if you don't see this nowhere else, know that your girl has been gathering information from all sources, okay? I have been watching Trump rallies. I've been watching Harris rallies. I've been watching all types of things because when I had conversations with people, their thing to me was, you're misinformed. You're misinformed. You must not have ever seen him speak before. So, baby, I went and watched him speak every time he's ever spoken ever. Don't play with me because I go and look, okay? Don't tell me to look it up because I will. Now, I want to talk about the policies. I want to talk about platforms. I want to give y'all both sides so that you can make an informed decision in November, okay? Because it is very important that you vote for your best interests for you and your family. However, if you are not voting for Kamala Harris, we will not be speaking, okay? And that's on your mama, okay? That's on your mama. We will not be speaking because how could you ever vote for the other? I just don't understand. You know, there are some things, there are some natural human rights and values, some things that I think maybe y'all just don't know about. So I'm here to give it to you, okay? And I'm not going to drag this out. I should have started the timer so I know how long I'm going to be talking, but I'm not going to drag this out. I'm going to try to keep it short. Let's talk about Trump's policies, okay? So I've watched him speak in, Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. I watched him speak in Asheville, North Carolina. He spoke in Philadelphia. So I've watched Las Vegas. I was just watching him speak in Arizona. So when I say I have been watching this man speak, I also watched him speak at Bedminster. I watched him speak at Mar-a-Lago. I watched the debate with Joe Biden. I'm in this shit. You hear what I'm saying? I'm in this shit. Yeah. So I know what's up. You know what I'm saying? And I just want to say that in every one of these different speeches and rallies and whatever the fuck he's calling these meetings of the zero minds, because it's really just a meeting amongst people who are rich, who've never had to worry about the issues that the regular American people have to worry about. Let me give y'all a little history on Trump first, because maybe y'all don't know who y'all dealing with, okay? Because you see him in photos with rappers back in the day. You see him and you hear rap songs where they mention Donald Trump back in the day. So we think that he was cool. Donald Trump never, ever, 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 ever on your mama ever liked black people. Okay, he was brought to, I don't know what court it was. I should have looked into it. But I know that he was charged, or there was some type of court proceedings surrounding the fact that there was racial discrimination in his apartments. Okay, Trump, y'all talking about you want to vote for him because he's a good businessman. Where, baby? Look at his track record. He's bankrupted every company he's ever worked for. There were 6 of them, including casinos that had his name on them. He had a university that was not accredited. It was actually a for-profit university. And he scammed and schemed and stole how would he say it? Millions and millions and millions, like fucking Dr. Evil from Austin Powers. Millions and millions of dollars from hardworking American people who were just trying to get an education, who thought that they could seek information from him because he's a billionaire. Trump inherited his wealth. He did not have to do anything to gain that or attain that wealth. It was given to him. He was not born with a silver spoon. It was platinum, baby, because his daddy was rich, and he was rich off of, you guessed it, discrimination. Dun dun dun. So for those who, for me to be able to drive the point just a little bit harder for you, okay? Ruby Bridges is still alive. So when we talk about racial discriminations, we talk about the racial injustices and the civil rights movement, those people are still alive. They put those photos in black and white to kind of mess with your mind and make you feel like this was so long ago. Why are we still talking about it? Y'all still talking about the Holocaust. We still talking about 9/11. You know what I'm saying? These are American tragedies. These are tragedies in the world that had taken place. And who are we to forget those things? You know what I'm saying? You don't know where you're going unless you know where you came from. So unless we are bound to repeat the history if we do not know our history, if we do not know where we come from. Okay, that is the reason they don't teach you that you are kings and queens. That is the reason they teach you that your history starts at slavery. That is the history that they want you to know, and that's the only thing they want you to believe about yourself, because if you start from the bottom, there's no way you can ever imagine that you've ever been at the top. Oh my God. Okay, let me not get too deep for y'all, because some of y'all ain't gonna go there with me. Okay, stay with me now. Stay with me. All of this shit is to work together. They ask us why do y'all put race in everything? Because y'all put race in everything. It's like Tony Satchery's, y'all put that shit on everything. Okay? Frank's Red Hots, I put that shit on everything. I think that's the right one. Stay with me now. But, yeah. So, for a person who has never had to work for anything to become the leader of the free world, Trump also increased the national deficit by $8 trillion during his 4-year presidency. That is the fastest increase in debt by any U.S. president ever in the history of the United States. The United States been around for 248 years with your dumb ass. You know what I'm saying? So, I ain't here to insult y'all, but I just want those who are listening to me who I've had those conversations with to like really listen to what I'm saying. Y'all haven't done any research. When I talk to people, I don't come to you and say, you're stupid, but I'm going to use this platform to let you know you're stupid. I don't come to y'all and say that to your face, but that's what I'm thinking as I'm having these conversations. I asked someone recently, what is the reason, what is the policy that swayed you? What made you want to vote for Trump? Because this man was adamant, okay? He was adamant that I was just being controlled by the Democrats and I'm brainwashed, and like y'all really think women have no ability to think for ourselves rationally? I cannot be swayed by people just because you put pretty words to fucking together, okay? Because that's what's happening at these Donald Trump rallies. He put a whole fucking 2 tables full of damn breakfast sausage and boxes of cereal to talk about the economic disaster, quote unquote, that we're in, when that is not true. See, the first 2 years of a presidency, you basically are inheriting the economy of the president before you and a lot of the issues and problems of the president before you. Joe Biden has been able to make tremendous strides. Okay, he's probably going to go down in history as one of our most successful presidents in history because he got a lot of shit passed. And the problem is we don't talk about it enough, so people get to walk around and spew hate and ignorance and just make it factual just because you're loud and you said it with your fucking chest out. It don't make it right. Okay, so Trump did absolutely nothing, and on the last year of his presidency, after having racial tensions that were boiling over, you think about all the things that took place during his presidency. Charlottesville, we had a lot of murders and killings from the police, different things that are still panning out to this day. Yesterday, it was ruled that the officer who shot Breonna Taylor was justified in his shooting because her boyfriend decided to fire back. Okay, so these are things that are still playing out that were taking place when Trump was president. But you want us to think that you were the best that we've ever had because you gave us $1,200. Let me tell y'all, I have worked in banking for almost 10 years. I was working at a bank at the time when the pandemic started and when the stimulus checks were going out. And it was first of all, let me talk about being an essential worker. It was a scary fucking time. I remember the first time I walked out and got on the highway. I live in Atlanta. Okay? If you've ever lived in Atlanta or been to Atlanta, you know that the traffic here is one thing that is consistent. It's always cars on the road. It don't matter if it's backed up or bumper to bumper. There are always cars out here. The first morning that the shutdown was happening and we still had to go to work, I got out on that road and there were no cars out, and I broke down and started crying on my way to work because what does this mean for me? That was 4 years ago. So I was 25 years old. I'm 25 years old. I work at a bank and the world is dying, and I'm being told I still have to come to work, and my apartments are still expecting me to pay my rent. They don't give a damn that my hours have been cut in half as a effect of the banking system being shut down for not even half a day, just being able to having to rotate us, you know what I'm saying, because it can't be more than a certain number of people in the building. Like, life was scary. But you know what was taking place during that time? Those stimulus checks had been printed and were getting ready to be sent out. And they notified us as bankers to let us know that we need to order more cash, or we need to be prepared for the boom in business when people receive that type of money. The checks were taken back the first time because his name was not on them. Donald Trump wanted to make sure that those who had physical checks, his name was printed on the check. Yeah. In each speech that I have watched by Donald Trump, his attempt to make any point is always that I did it. He wants the credit for things. He wants to be seen as a great leader when in fact he is a peon. He the nigga you send to the store for the backwoods. If I'm speaking in y'all's language, you know what I'm saying? He is the one who got the money, but he don't got the swag. But y'all keep that nigga around because he'll bankroll everything. You know what I'm saying? He's that dude. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. He faked his assassination. Let's talk about it. He faked that assassination. I watched the video. They're saying that so many shots rang out. This person, all these people were injured. I didn't see any of that. He said that they shot off the top portion of his ear. Well, that's where the blood was. A week later, he was not wearing that little fucking bandage no more. It's a cult because he wears this bandage to one of his rallies, and then you look out in the crowd and the people are wearing fucking bandages. Is this Nelly in the 2000s? They are wearing full gauze over their ears. And a week later, this man was not wearing it anymore. And in one of the rallies, at the end, the reporter asked him, what's going on basically with your ear? This nigga said, he said, I'm a fast healer. Yo, he playing in your face, bro. The boy that shot him, or that supposedly shot him, the attempted assassinationist oh my god. Okay, the boy who attempted, right? He's a young man. He was very young, but he was a Trump supporter. His family were Trump supporters. They had Trump paraphernalia in his house.
This shit is hard.
You know? So, what would make him... You know what I really think? He's a devout supporter, and they paid him. They paid him. These are paid actors. They already have confirmed that some of the people who sit behind Trump at these rallies are being paid. The girl from Chick-fil-A who got up there and hugged him and did all of that fucking pandering and talking about Kamala and all of the things that she was saying, she's paid. She works for the campaign. Same thing for this other man who they keep putting on camera, and he's always around pretending to be a black man. He's actually an Indian man. I don't know his name, but if y'all want the facts, I'll send them to you. I have no problem. I can pull receipts. But he's actually an Indian man. He gets on camera and he pretends to be a black man for Trump because he's brown and he can pass. And he dresses like us. You know what I'm saying? Like, it is a show. It's performative. This is an act. This is nothing to Trump but The Apprentice. It's an opportunity for him to be seen, for him to avoid going to jail, because that's really... Hello? 34 felonies. Also, let me ask y'all, because this is what's crazy to me. Y'all are so, I'm all for law and order. I'm for this. I'm for that. Trump is the anti of all of that. You're talking about Christian values. Trump has said, I'm not a Christian. I am not a Christian. He said that. You talking about safety at the border? There was a bipartisan border deal that was proposed by one of the most conservative Republicans in the Senate. Kamala Harris and Joe Biden worked across the aisle on this border deal that would have increased the controls at the border. You know what I'm saying? Trump, even though he's not president right now, was able to get in the ear of the Republicans in the Senate and tell them to not pass it. And they didn't. They listened to him because he wanted the border to be an issue that he could use during the election process. This is a man who is for himself and for himself only, and has always only been for himself. When I spoke to a black man recently about, and I might pull the DMs up so I can read them to y'all, because I won't say his name, but I didn't really get him together with the facts like I wanted to, and I really want to be able to just point out everything now that I have. He sent me a video and I was like, this video ain't saying shit. You thought you ate with that one? It ain't saying nothing, my boy. I just wanted to know, what is the policy? And what he spoke to me about was transgender agenda. Man, for real? Are you serious? Of all the issues that are going on in the world, I don't have children. I'm not saying that having some concern about what your children's adult lives will look like is not an issue. But we can't even get there. We can't even get to their adult lives. Why are we so concerned about their adult lives? We got to get them born. Women's reproductive rights is a huge issue right now in America. And any man or woman who's willing to ignore that, God help you. I hope you never need any reproductive care, or that no one you love ever needs any reproductive care. You know what has been so poignant to me while watching the DNC? I watched all 4 days of the DNC. I watched almost every single speech. I might not have seen the people's faces, but while I was cleaning my house or whatever, I might have had it playing on the speaker. I wanted to hear what was being said about what was to come for me. Because I'm not married, I don't have kids, but these are things that I want for myself in the future. And if you're going to tell me that if something were to happen to me, that I could not get the help that I need, I got a problem with that. I don't want to die because someone just did not care. You know what I'm saying? As if the black female mortality rate, birth mortality rate, whatever they're calling, you know what I'm talking about. We die already at a higher rate than almost anyone else. And I'm a firm believer that is because they do not believe black women. You do not believe that we have pain, and that is deeply rooted in eugenics. I could go deep with this shit on y'all. Eugenics is the scientific explanation or reasoning behind racism. So them saying that they could whip us and beat us and rape us and do all of those things because we could not feel it. We were not wired physically in the same ways to receive pain, or that we could take pain way more extreme pains than those of our white counterparts. So it was okay for them to treat us that way. Our bones were more dense, and we were built different, and we were made strategically to be like animals, like oxes, like, you know, we're meant to build and fucking carry shit on our backs like fucking mules, because our bodies are built different. And yes, our bodies are built different. We are strong. We are all of those things that build us up, and we were able to build this fucking country on our backs, only for them to still be trying to take away our rights. Come on, you have to look at it. You have to look at the whole picture, guys. $1,200 could not have made that much, and the nigga was not really trying to give it to y'all. And doing so, he cut taxes on his billionaire friends, which contributed to that $8 trillion deficit that I was talking about earlier. So this, all of my reasons why you should not vote for Trump. I have plenty more. I could keep going. They want to remove books from schools. They want to get rid of Social Security and Medicare. They want to send women basically back to the 50s. Just be barefoot and pregnant and shut up and cook my dinner. And that's it. But they have no policy. They want to repeal the Affordable Care Act. You know, they used to call that Obamacare, but they don't call it that anymore because it's very popular amongst people. So, amongst the American people. You know what I'm saying? So they want to repeal the Affordable Care Act. But what will you put in its place? I have not heard one thing that they have proposed in opposition to the things that they want to remove. How can you take away all of these things and not give people something in its place? You feel me? Taking away people's reproductive care, their rights to abortion, does not mean that people will stop getting abortions. It means that they will stop having safe abortions. It means that they will stop seeking safe and you know, care, and they will stop seeking people who went to school for it. They will stop going to doctors. Doctors are scared to perform reproductive care like abortions on people who've had miscarriages just because they don't want to go to jail in their state. Trump has proposed putting a person who I guess will be like the snitch, the overseer of that type of activity in each state, even though the states right now have the ability to vote on it, and many states have decided to uphold their abortion rights in their states. But there are a lot of states like Texas who want to implement the death penalty for women who seek abortions. Now, I'm not pro-life. I don't really have you should do this, I don't care what you do with your life. It's your life. I'm gonna live mine how I need to. God willing, God see fit, I'm gonna do what I need to do for my life, and I want you to be able to have the choice to do those things too. Okay, so yes, I do believe that it should be something that is available to everyone. Okay, but let me tell you something. Just because people, the word abortion is the definition of what has to happen, but it's not always in that negative, I just don't want it, spiteful woman or whatever y'all try to put with it. Or a man who, it's not always that. There are some times that it is the only way to save your life. There are some times that is the only way for you to save your ability to have children in the future. I've heard stories from men and women who are married who decided that, hey, we need to terminate this pregnancy because it's going to kill you. And to my future husband, baby, listen to me. If there's ever a situation where you have to choose me or a baby that's not here, if they tell you I'm gonna die, choose to save me, please. Because and all my friends that's listening, don't let that nigga choose that baby. Choose me, okay? Because we can do this again. I don't want to go out like that. I'm sorry. Call me selfish. Say what you want. That ain't how I want to end my life. Okay, it's a noble way, and in a circumstance where we're already here and it's like no way to save me. Absolutely. If there's no way to save me, hey, then that's just what God wanted. But don't let me die from sepsis. Don't let me die because I had a miscarriage and I can't go to the doctor and they can't take it out and I can't pass it on my own and I'm stuck and I'm gonna die in a parking lot of a fucking Winn-Dixie because you won't take me to the hospital and the hospital won't help me. Don't do that. Drive me to another state. I don't give a damn. But it shouldn't have to be like that is what I'm saying. Okay? It should not have to be like that. Women should not have to make those types of decisions just by trying to expand their families. They also want to get rid of IVF. And IVF is for not just for people of the same sex. Like, I don't know what is wrong with y'all that y'all are just so upset about people and who they decide to put in the bed next to them. But if you ain't trying to get in the bed with them, why do you care? You feel me? I don't care what the person across the street is doing. I don't know what they're doing. I could see two people holding hands and I don't know if that's a man and a woman and a man, two men, two women. I don't know, a cat and a dog. I don't know. And guess what? I don't care. I came here to get my toilet tissue and my toothpaste and whatever else I came in the store to get, and I'm out of here. Why do y'all care? You think that you're doing something to hurt this particular community, but it's actually going to hurt all of us. Getting rid of IVF, I may not ever need IVF in my life. But there was a period in my life where I thought that I would for several reasons. If you know me, you know some things about me. If you don't know me, then, hey, you can assume whatever you want. But there are a lot of reasons why I may have one day have considered IVF. And it's not just for people who are of the same sex relationships. There are people, women and men alike, who have issues with fertility. And it is a way for them to guarantee that their eggs are viable, that the sperm has fertilized the egg, that they can implant a viable... it's not a fetus at that term. I don't know. They can implant this for you so that you can attempt to latch and be pregnant. And for some people, it's the only way that they can do it. And it still takes them rounds and rounds and rounds of this treatment. And it costs them a lot of money. And it's painful. And it's not fun. And I know that it takes a lot from these people. But that is the determination of them to want to have a family. Who are you to say that that's not what should happen for them? JD Vance? JD Vance is Trump's running mate. JD Vance is the one who has so much to say about pretty much everything. But JD Vance has no idea who he is. That man has changed his mind time and time again. Do y'all know? Way back in college, or way back before college, JD Vance identified as gay. His grandma told him he can't be gay no more, so he decided not to be gay. Then he thought he was like Paul Bunyan in the fucking woods. In Appalachia. He went to Yale, and then he wrote a book about how terrible the community that raised him was. He became a politician, he was in the military first. Let's back up. He went to the military, served. Then he became a politician. He said he was a never Trump guy. Never Trump. I think Trump is the American Hitler. That's what he said. That's what he said. And somehow he ends up on the ticket with Trump a couple years later. So I'm a firm believer that if you stand for nothing, you'll fall for anything. And to me, that sounds like a person who's just wanting to be accepted and willing to do whatever it is you say I have to do in order for you to love me and like me.
Extra. This shit is hard.
He's married to an Indian woman. Her name is Usha Vance. Okay. So shout out to him on his diversity. Is she a DEI? Because that's what they love to say. Is she a diversity and inclusion pick? Did you pick her because you felt like it would make you better in politics because you had a woman of color? Or did you love that woman? Let's just, what I think. But there were people of the Trump campaign who had negative things to say about J.D. Vance's wife because she's Indian. And he was cool with it. He was like, oh yeah, Trump can hang out with these people and I'm cool with it. Yo, if you don't tell them motherfucking people to watch their fucking mouth. You know what I'm saying? Like, I said I wasn't gonna stay on this too long, but I just want y'all to know who it is and what it is that y'all are saying y'all want to vote for when you say you want to vote for Trump. You know what I'm saying? Just call it what it is. Y'all don't want to vote for a woman and you don't want to vote for a black woman. Hillary Clinton spoke at the DNC and she talked about cracking the glass ceiling and watching Kamala break it. And that kind of was sad to me because when we think about it, Hillary Clinton was more than qualified to have been president. But we let Trump, not we, because I voted for Hillary, but you let Trump convince you that there were so many things and secrets and this and that, and it's just all his rhetoric. He has said the same things in this particular race right here about Kamala Harris and Tim Walz that he said about Hillary Clinton. The exact same things. There's no difference. He's talking about how she's a Marxist and she's a this and she's a that and she's gonna be loose on politics. Now, let's talk about that because I wanted to make sure that I pointed this out. When Kamala Harris was running for president the first time, they said that she was too strict on on crime because she used to be a prosecutor. Now you're saying that she's the most lenient that I've ever seen. She's gonna let 20 million people in through the border and they're gonna be rapists and murderers and they're gonna take black jobs. Like, how much of this stuff does he have to say? For real. For y'all to, I could go on and on and on. So how much of this do I need to point out? Let me tell you some good things while I'm here. While I'm speaking of Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris went to Howard. HU. I love a good HBCU, baby. Okay. Shout out to the illustrious North Carolina A&T State University in Greensboro, North Carolina, where I received my degree. You know what I'm saying? It was a long, hard struggle, but we got it. Okay. And I love me a good HBCU. I think that it is the place where I learned what my blackness was like. Like, I ain't gonna lie, I grew up in a black town. Most of the people around me were black. I mean, there were white people who I came in contact with, but majority of my high school was black. My middle school was black. Like, it's just black people, and I loved it. You know what I'm saying? But I was only introduced to one type of people. When I went to A&T, I was immediately dropped into a world where there were black people, but black people from all over the world. So it was just so many different cultures of black. There were so many things that we shared just because we were black, but there were still differences. And I learned so much. I went natural my first year. I cut all my hair off. Like, y'all, I was so just intrigued by being black. I took the blackest classes I could take. So having gone to a HBCU, I can relate to the experience that Madam VP Harris has experienced. Okay, they say she's not, she just turned black. How can you just turn black? You used to say if it was one drop of black in you, you're black. You used to say that. Now she's half. Her dad is Jamaican, her mama is Indian. Her mom came to America when she was 19 by herself in order to gain an education. Her goal was to cure breast cancer, her mother. While she was here, she attended she got her degree. She attended a civil rights rally where she met Kamala's father. They would later marry and have 2 children, Kamala and Maya, who would both later on go to become lawyers. Right? Ain't that cool? So her parents divorced and she was raised by her mother primarily. But she still identified as a black woman, and she said that her mother always let them know that they would grow to be black women. They would be seen as black women. So she didn't train them. She taught them what to expect from life and how to experience life as black women. Okay? So she's always been black. She grew up black. She went to a HBCU. While she was at the HBCU, she worked at McDonald's in order to gain money. Like we all do. I had 2 jobs in college. I worked at Abercrombie and I worked at a call center for Verizon, and I hated that shit. Oh my God, I used to go to the car every day and cry. And it was during the 2016 election, and I don't know how they knew I was black on the phone. I mean, I know I sound black right now, but I like to think I got a nice little code switch until you piss me off, and then I don't give a damn. But it wasn't always that. You know what I'm saying? At first, I worked in prepaid. And prepaid phones, they don't have to tell you their name. They don't have to tell you any personal information. And those are some of the rudest, most disgusting people I've ever spoken to in my life. If you got a prepaid phone, fuck you. Bitch, that's why you can't afford to have a cell service every month. You gotta pay by minutes. Stupid hoe. No, what is this? Elitism? No elitism. But yeah, it's a little bit because y'all be rude as hell. But anyway, I can relate to that too. You know what I'm saying? She pledged AKA while she was in school. I didn't do any of that, but I can relate to seeing that. You know what I'm saying? And what that world was like. And I respect the Greek families, because no matter where they go out in the world, I do see them networking and building and working together, and I respect that just off of just seeing black people unite and seeing them want to work together and forge against the forces of evil. Like, I just love it so much. I love it. So I love that. You know what I'm saying? She didn't end up having kids, so JD Vance refers to her as a childless cat lady. Okay. Does he not know his kids are mixed? I wonder. Because your kids are mixed. Your wife is Indian. You are white. Your kids are mixed. Anyway, they brown too. Oh, okay. Anyway, so yeah, so back to Kamala. So she goes to Howard. She graduates. She becomes a lawyer. She does take and pass the bar. For some reason, Donald Trump is saying she never passed the bar. She does take and pass the bar. She becomes a prosecutor in California, and her famous lines are Kamala Harris for the people. She prosecuted her cases not in the name of the victim, but in the name of the people. In her own words, she did this because a hurt or harm or injustice to one person would affect us all. You know, that's deep. That's deep. You can't come into our communities and hurt one of us and think that it's not going to affect all of us. So anyway, she does that. She later becomes the Attorney General. During that time, she's prosecuting TransUnion, I think, gangs and banks. She got like $20 billion from banks that were operating unjustly, let's just say. You know what I'm saying? It's one of the largest settlements in U.S. history. This is a woman who went against the cartels. She was a prosecutor. You said that she was locking up all the black people. I looked into that too. So there were a lot of things that when Kamala was running the first time for president, that the right wing conservatives put out about her in order to tear down her character. And that was one of the things, that she's a black woman who has locked up a lot of black people. But the truth is, Kamala Harris, during her time working in the Senate and as the Attorney General and as a prosecutor in the state of California, I think it was San Francisco, she reduced recidivism in her state, which is when people who are convicted of crimes and are released from jail return to jail. So how much time does it take for you to commit another crime and then go back to jail? And a lot of times that happens because people are released and they don't have very much. They don't have families that they can turn to. They don't have programs and initiatives to get them back on their feet. So a lot of times they end up committing more crimes and doing stuff and hitting people upside their head and stealing purses and shit. Let's just call it what it is. But she reduced recidivism in her state and was able to help people stay out of jail. You know what I'm saying? And those are not just black people who are affected by that. We talk about her locking people up on, marijuana crimes. It's less than 2,000 people who were locked up. And it's not a metric that was broken down by white, black, Hispanic. It's not a metric broken down that way. It's 2,000 people total during the time that she was a prosecutor in the United States. It takes a quick second for us to do our research. I say this all the time. Please do your research. Look for yourself, because they're going to put some shit out there. They're going to piss on you and tell you that it's raining. Okay? I ain't mean to go R. Kelly on y'all, but it's a saying nonetheless. I'm country, and that's where I come from. So I just wanted to get out here and say some things. Don't just let your news come from one source. I say go look for it in several sources. Kamala Harris got my vote. Oh, let me talk about Tim Walz real quick, because I talked about Trump, Vance, Harris. I got to talk about Tim Walz. Tim Walz might be the nicest, sweetest person, most genuine person I think that I've ever seen in my adult years run for politics. Now, I'm going to say this. Joe Biden has his flaws, but like looking back on Joe Biden's presidency, I really love Joe. I really love Bernie Sanders too, y'all. Like, so voting for Kamala kind of to me is feeling like I get to vote for Bernie. I voted for Bernie a couple times too, but you know, whatever. But it is because the values are very similar, and you know, build the middle class, and you know, reduce taxes for the middle class. You know, things like that. You know, tax the wealthy. People making over $100 million a year should have to trickle down. Let's just come on now. Why? I want to be a wealthy person too. I want to be the richest I can be in my entire life. But do I think that should absolve me from my responsibility to my community or to the communities that help me become who I am? Absolutely not. And if that's who you think you are, you're a selfish human being. For real. How can you look at the world and say, I got mine? Selfish. And sometimes it's okay to be selfish, but then you have to look at it and say, God has blessed me with more than I can ever use for myself. How can I give? How can I make this money? Even if I don't give it in a sense of me giving money physically to somebody, how can I make an impact that will change the course of somebody's life? Sometimes just seeing somebody do something can influence your desire to do something. You know, I may not be able to give you $100 million, but if I see you want to pour into this organization, maybe I want to go and see what this organization is about. Maybe I want to do some community service hours with this organization, because once I get in there, I find out that I like it. You know, she wants to, I'm supposed to be talking about Tim Walz, but I'm going to say this one more time. She wants to help home ownership in America, because there's a gap. There's a huge gap. Millennials are not buying homes because we can't afford them. We can't afford to buy homes. We are too busy trying to pay for these highest apartments that y'all keep telling me I can't afford to buy a home, but this is probably more than I'm ever going to pay a mortgage, ever. You know what I'm saying? So there is something wrong in America, and we're trying to fix it. But Donald Trump has no desire to fix it. I've heard no policy or plan, and I've been listening for 2 weeks. Okay? Now, Tim Walz. Tim Walz is the governor of Minnesota. Okay? He served 6 terms as the governor. So, was it the governor or a state senator? Either way, he's been in both. And he served multiple terms in both. The people love him, basically. They love him. They feel like he's very genuine and unique. He was in the National Guard for 24 years. He was also a history teacher. Social studies teacher in high school, and he was a high school football coach. So this is the type of person who I agree should be in politics, because he's a regular person, but he has the military experience. He later became a U.S. senator, so he has the legislative experience. And I do think that he was a very good pick for Kamala, because he don't hold no punches. Like, I've heard so many of his speeches now where he just says what he wants to say and what he feels like is right. And, I know the speeches are written because I've heard some of the same kind of wording throughout all of them, which is okay. But I do feel like it's genuine. I feel like of anyone, of any candidate, of anyone I've ever had to vote for before, that this ticket is probably the most genuine, the most real, the most... And say what you want, nobody is gonna show you their 100% life. I don't know what world y'all live in where y'all expect people to get on here. And that's the problem with the internet. Y'all expect people to get on here and show you every single detail about them, and we don't. Real people don't. Let me say that again. Real people do not operate like that. I'm not getting on here and telling y'all all my business, my deepest fears, and my hopes and dreams for you to shoot them down or use them against me. Get real with yourself. Okay? So, no, I don't expect to know every single thing about these people. And no, I don't expect people to be perfect either. I look at Joe Biden and I say, this man passed the, 93? It's either 1993 or 97. One of the two. He passed the crime bill that was the 3 strikes. So, if you committed 3 felony crimes that you were committed to, serve potentially a life sentence in the United States. And that came from Joe Biden. But do I think that people are able to change their minds? Are people able to grow? Are people able to learn and then change their minds? Absolutely. There are things that one day when I was little, I didn't like broccoli. I didn't like broccoli when I was little. I thought it stunk. I thought it was the most disgusting looking thing I had ever seen in my life. But the only place I had ever had broccoli was at school. The only place broccoli was ever introduced to me was in the cafeteria at school. And some of that food looked like slop, because it's being cooked in a large pan and sometimes overcooked. Broccoli is a vegetable that you gotta be careful with. As I got older, I started trying new things, and I tried broccoli again. Because you can't say you don't like it if you haven't tried it. And you can't say you don't like it if maybe you don't try it twice. Because maybe you just didn't have a good experience that first time. So now that I've tried it multiple times, I put broccoli in a lot of things now. I was able to change my mind. And I think we should all be able to change our minds about everything. Once you know better, you do better. That's biblical. It ain't worded like that, but it's in the Bible. Okay? So I thank y'all for sitting with me through this little quick breakdown of the the Democratic Party, the DNC. I didn't really get deep into the DNC. What I'm gonna say about the DNC is Trump sucks. Hillary had a great speech. Bill Clinton had a great speech. I love Michelle and Obama. Okay? It's been 16 years since they stepped foot in the White House, and it doesn't even feel that long ago. How old am I? You know what I'm saying? So I'm very grateful that I got to live and see that. And then this time we'll get to see our first female president, black woman president. And I cannot wait for that. So make sure, this is my attempt to make sure that y'all are ready. Please get your registration in order. Make sure you know where your voting center is. Make sure you make a plan to vote. If y'all have a regular job, if you don't know if you're going to be off on this particular day, look into early voting. If you live in a state that you're not registered to vote in, like if you have an ID, let's say you live in Georgia but you have a North Carolina state ID or a Massachusetts ID or something like that, you need to find out about mail-in voting. You need to find out about all of these things. Do not be left out. This is the one that counts, okay? If you are a man and you are not looking into voting in the best interest of your female counterparts, that includes your mom, your friends, your family, your daughters, your sisters, your cousins, anyone that is around you, and you are not looking into the best interest of that woman and thinking about her future, shame on you. Shame on you. We need y'all right now. And this is coming from me as a black woman, but particularly as a woman. You know, I need y'all to understand that this goes so deep beyond just how you feel about whether a person is gay or transgender or whatever. Like, all of those things, we can worry about those later. We really just need to start talking to each other. The reason we don't understand or we don't like each other or whatever, different demographics don't get along, is because we don't spend enough time talking to each other. So I encourage y'all to get out and have some uncomfortable conversations with people. Don't get out and just be like, I'm voting for this person. Still think politics are something that maybe are taboo, but just getting to have conversations that you maybe would not normally have with people could maybe change your mind about something. And I think it's important that we are always being willing to learn something new. You should learn something new every day, or at least try to. I'm gonna be honest, there's some days that I'm probably a little stagnant, but I keep a book with me, and I'm always gonna be reading something. I'm always gonna be challenging my mind to do more, and that might be the reason why I am a chronic overthinker, but that is for the next episode. So thank y'all so much for tuning in. What you gonna do for Big Mama for real? Make sure you take your ass down there and vote. All right, this has been another episode of Add a Little Honey podcast. My name is Honey. I make honey coated music. You know where to find me. We out. Bye. Ooh. And another thing, I just got to throw this in here before y'all go. Trump wants to get rid of the Constitution. The Constitution freed the slaves. Just something y'all should know. Okay, bye-bye.